browser failed to play clip. That's interesting.
I thought you were playing it.
29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What do you got to eat? Here, guys. What's this say? I don't know. What's that say? I know, but I'm not gonna tell. I think it says it's good.
Conjecture Hoops contains all the presumptions, assumptions, and off-the-wall postulations a growing kid needs. Conjecture Hoops, a big bowl of bullshit. Saturday morning cartoons.
Now at night time.
Mostly conjecture based on little knowledge.
Please welcome Max Headshrew, Dell, Aria Blackness, and your most gracious host, Ben motherfucking Jackson. Applause. Applause. Applause.
Still like the music for that intro.
Where's Rob at? I guess he didn't get his beers in times.
He went to get his beer and then he came back and then he disappeared. Maybe he got really pissed really, really quickly.
Hey Rob, did you get your beer?
Right, sorry. Hi, I'm here. How are you doing?
Did you turn your lights off?
Say what?
Did you turn your beer off?
The internet's really
right.
screwing up. I'm gonna turn my camera off.
That's okay.
Jeez. Damn freaking shit.
Damn freaking shit happens to the best of us.
Yeah,
So Rob, did you like this book, Ranxerox?
Ah, bloody did. I absolutely did.
Give me a synopsis because I know nothing except for the fact that it's got tits in it.
It's got tits in
it's got prepubescent tits in it.
Well, 18-year-old tits.
No, 12.
What?
No, it says, the one dude says, is she 12? And the other guy says she's 18.
Right, okay. So I read the full one. And
don't ruin it. Don't get us kicked off YouTube.
Yeah, no,
I'm not
I read the full one.
She's 18.
Yeah?
I'm not listening.
She's 12, dude. She's 12.
She's 18. So if you look at this version,
listen. It's
published in Heavy Metal Magazine.
We didn't make it. We're not pushing it. We're just reviewing it, so that's fine.
Absolutely, yeah. This is why
she's 18 in canon in the universe.
So this is why I sent out a tweet just before the show.
Yeah.
Because I've got some pretty mixed views on this, right?
Right.
Well, yeah. This is a commentary on society, and it shows what's wrong with it. See, whipping people and wearing harnesses. This is bad. I'm not into this. I'm not into this. This is a commentary on why it's bad.
What's the mixed reaction, Rob? Give me
okay, so like when you read about a culture, now obviously there's a fictional culture, but you can compare the like science fiction of the future to like literature and history of the past, and of course like even in our cultures, like less than 100 years ago or less than 200 years ago, it was quite common for girls to get married in arranged weddings at 12 years old.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But Lubna is actually 12 years old in the future. She's a drug addict and she has a sex bot.
She's 18.
Yeah, okay, you read your version, I'll read mine. I'll read the one that...
That's interesting.
Yeah, because it's mentioned several times throughout that she's only 12. And in fact, there's one girl that's looks like she's suffering from dwarfism, but she's like in a gang and she's 3 years old.
Right, so
I can tell by the look on your face you're trying hard to figure all this out.
well, I'm just
I don't
wondering
blame you.
Is there a reason that it's been written that way? Is there some kind of message that's trying to be?
That's a good question.
I'm not familiar with it at all, so I'm just
right. You see, it's a good question, and in order to do a little background digging, I got home a bit late today. I wanted to do a bit more research. I read the 200 pages over the last week. Yeah. I would have imagined that there would have been a bit of a backlash with these elements of the story, a bit of controversy.
Sure.
You know, and according to the one article I looked on Wikipedia for, nothing, no mention of any controversy because of Lubna's age.
Right.
Yeah. But give me a second, I'll find out where it says. And it's mentioned several
Here it
times.
says, how old is that girl anyways? How about 12? Are you seeing my screen? I didn't share my screen, did I?
No, I'm not seeing it.
I'm about to. It's actually good that I didn't until now. How old is that girl anyway? About 12. He's not bad looking though, especially in that position. Nah, I know her. She's 18. Let's go beat him up anyway. We've got nothing better to do. So it's kind of like a Clockwork type of near future imagining what kind of dystopian nightmare we're creating with AI, because this is an android. But we find out Ranxerox is a robot, and it's like, oh, cool, a robot superhero. Well, not really. It's more like a dystopian sci-fi nightmare world. So this is a robot, and he has sex with like an 18-year-old girl that looks 12.
So here's the thing, right? She mentions later on in the series, I mean, obviously time passes, that she's then 14.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't read that. So that's in French, I think, or whatever, or Italian.
Oh, is this a French or Italian?
Yeah, what are the names? Liberatore and the other one. They're both Italian.
They're both
Italian. So this appeared. Let me dig out the. It was printed for the first time in English. Yeah. It was printed for the first time in English in heavy metal.
Tamburini.
Sorry,
Stefano Tamburini, Tenino Liberatore. It has sort of an aesthetic kind of similar to the Italian episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I really like the artwork. The artwork's great.
Yeah.
Well, the artwork is interesting. Here, let me. Did you get the really early stuff there, Ben?
No, the only thing I have to talk about is this book right here. Do you want to share something else?
Yeah, let's do that just briefly, and then we'll go on to your part. Because, like, when you look at the first, there we go. When you look at the first story or stories, right?
Oh, very different.
Very different, and very, very Robert Crumb, isn't it?
Yeah, I could sort of see how these might be the pencils.
Yeah.
Or like rough inks for something that you would paint over. Is it the same art?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, you can tell that they've actually used photocopies here in the artwork, as part of the artwork, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
the name's Ranxerox.
I think sometimes a sort of main aesthetic for a comic book can grow as you're creating the book itself.
Yep.
You get that sometimes where the first couple of issues don't quite hit the mark as well as the ones that appear later on.
Yeah.
Especially.
This is the
Especially when
second
a lot
episode. Sorry, Ben.
That's okay. Especially when a lot of the sort of charm and color of the color, the flavor of the color, whatever you want to say, the aesthetic, comes from the way it's hand painted. It looks like to me it was.
Yeah.
So kind of gives it like a Bisley dimension of depth to it that's pretty absent if you take just black and white.
Yep. So here, this is the first panel or first page of the second episode. Summary of the previous episode. Ranx crashed into a truck. Lubna, a 12-year-old kid who is madly in love with him, recovered his head and a few valuable pieces. Ranx
My headphones just fell out. I didn't hear everything you said, but go on.
Yeah. Right. Ranx is a synthetic thug made out of plastic and metal. That's all. Third episode. Lou kidnapped. So the first the first storyline has this kind of art.
Yeah.
And then we move on, and then what you get is this.
Yeah, you can see the artwork has improved.
Yeah.
So this was my first introduction to the character. I've never seen those first two episodes.
Yeah. That it was, and what's really telling is in the first, God knows how many pages here. Let me see.
So I owned whichever two. I don't remember how many issues of Heavy Metal this story was published inside of. I think it was 4 or 6 or something like that. I owned 2 of those, and so I read 2 pieces of this story that way before I legally obtained the whole book.
Well, look, you didn't make it. I won't worry about it. We're just discussing what the deal is. You know what I mean?
No, it is interesting though that it seems to have been censored for Heavy Metal to a point, which is
right.
It's funny
which is
because
interesting
probably for a Western palette, right?
For a Western palette, but even published in Heavy Metal tries to pretend like it's the edgiest, most controversial shit, and it's just.
Right.
It just basically shows you where the line is of what a Western North American will tolerate.
I just, if that is the case about the age of the character, I just wondered to what end that might be.
Well, to publish in North America, I would.
No, like the original, like the fact that she was a young girl.
Orange.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen the movie, everyone has, right?
Yeah, I've seen Clockwork Orange.
So those girls that. What's his name? Alex.
Yeah.
That he had sex with at the milk bar are underage also.
Yeah. Young. But he's young as well.
Yeah, they were as well.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, Ranxerox is young as well because, you know, it's probably younger than Lubna.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's kind of cool because it's like you wouldn't have Dragon Ball Z without Ranxerox, or I think I could see a direct line of like.
Oh, really? What? Explain.
Well, there's a season where the primary adversaries of the Saiyans are androids, because you've just defeated Frieza, and the way to do that is with the Super Saiyan. But then you decide you want Vegeta also to be a Super Saiyan, so then you need to arbitrarily invent another enemy that's more powerful than Frieza. So they just make androids. Because they can arbitrarily make them as powerful as necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, especially Android 16, I'll get a picture of that. I didn't think about it. Android 16 from Dragon Ball Z, I think looks a lot like Ranxerox. It just occurs to me now. Should have occurred to me yesterday.
Yeah. Can I just say that I like the way you say Dragon Ball Z?
Anyway, you were saying
because Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball Z.
God, he's ballsy. He's Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball.
Ballsy.
This panel from the first story, from the first episode, in fact, he's a perfect android. Imagine this. I created him by using a Xerox photocopier I stole at the university during the occupation in '86. and I added several bioelectronic elements. Ranx can take drugs, drink, eat, and fuck. He has everything I need. Why would he need him to fuck?
Yeah, it's really cool because it's like the coolest superpower because you basically think about it because like having sex is really fun and doing drugs is a lot of fun and getting into fights is actually honestly a lot of good fun. And these things are potentially detrimental to your health and safety. But wouldn't it be cool if you could program your body to where drugs weren't detrimental and neither was sex, so you wouldn't have to worry about STDs, you wouldn't have to worry about hangovers, you could just smoke and do whatever, and that would be like in line with what your physiognomy wants from you. As a young man, I found that idea fascinating. So
at this point, I will just quote the life work of one famous artist, Mick Jagger. Have you seen him leap around the stage at 80?
Yeah,
dude.
And he was like shagging around and taking drugs and God knows what.
Yeah.
In the 60s
but he has like
70s.
plasma injections from kids. Didn't he?
What did he have?
Oh no, that's nothing.
He had clap injections. What?
Plasma,
Oh, plasma injections. Yeah. Oh, did he do the South Park Christopher Reeves? Like sucking the cell stems out of babies, fetuses.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure he's part chimp as well.
Say again?
I'm sure Mick Jagger is part chimp. Might have something to do with it.
Now, Ben won't know this.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, Ben won't know this, but maybe Max will. Have you ever heard of a guy called Phil Cool?
Yes. The guy with the funny faces.
Yeah. Totally. And he'd be like, "Oh," and he would be doing Mick Jagger and saying, "We were down at the swimming pool last week, and all the kids started freaking out on my face. And I thought it's because they thought I was famous." And Marion says, "No, it's because they thought you was a rubber dinghy."
I saw Phil Cool on an old video of RoboCop the other day, and he was advertised. That's weird.
You are. Phil Cool was on RoboCop.
I watched an old VHS of RoboCop advertised at the beginning of RoboCop. It was a Phil Cool video.
Right.
Paul Ben has no idea what the fuck we're talking about. He's an old British comedian that can pull funny faces.
Yeah. I love
he was a
serendipity
British
like
comedian,
that.
and for a little while he was the drummer in Genesis.
Who, Phil Cool?
There's Android 16. Phil Coolman's. There's Android 16 looking a little bit like Ranxerox. Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. A lot of good, like the chin line and everything. Have you ever met like Dutch people?
Dutch people?
Do you know any like Dutch people? Because they look like Ranxerox.
I'll tell Mike Jimmy de Brown and see what he has to say about that.
If you're handsome in Dutch, I'm obviously not talking about you, so don't get mad. But ugly Dutch people, so not you, the Dutch person watching this is your person, but ugly Dutch people look like Ranxerox because they have like really sharp jaws, big jaws, and wide face, cheek muscles or whatever. Right?
Okay, so
it's like this is what an android looks like. If you want to make an android that can take drugs and get stronger the more drugs and punches it takes. It looks like Ranxerox. He looks like a Ranxerox.
Alrighty. So you didn't get to see all of these. Should we move on to yours
yet? I've seen this because I know the origin.
Right, yeah.
But again, the story I really like is just the issues that were published in Heavy Metal.
Got it. The origin actually was repeated in a later issue, I guess, for new readers who wanted to kind of catch up. I think it was well after. There were 209 pages, including some pages of like poster artwork, and I reckon it's about talking about page 150, somewhere around there, you've got the origin again, just to let people know what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it started out 1978 in Cannibale, and continued in another underground magazine in Italy, and then came to, if I remember correctly, came to heavy metal in English, 1983, I think it was. Yeah. Cool.
So apart from it being about a girl with a questionable age with a sex robot, what's the overarching story? Is it like a sandbox story?
I mean, it doesn't sound like much when you say it like that, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, let's take a look at it. Here, let's share my screens. I'm already sharing my screens. Here's my screens. So I think this is the girl with the dwarfism. Are you seeing my screen? Because it doesn't say.
No, we're seeing us on YouTube. Now we're seeing you.
Yay! That's the one to jump to. Oh, was I sharing that? Yeah, that's me. That's me. No, that's not me.
We're gonna take like, it on YouTube. That girl's 18 in a comic book, and it's not Rob having sex with her.
Yeah. So, wow.
So yeah, here we go. There's the girl that has dwarfism. I think she says hi.
Yeah.
Let go of me, you cancer. So here's a young girl, barely 18 years old. Okay, joke's over. And she's addicted to drugs, right? She's addicted to drugs. Right. She's trying to get pressured into letting herself be sexually assaulted, And big bad Ranxerox comes and just beats the shit out of everybody that's trying to do anything. And in 1 second, K has a 4-way KO. He's got a one-handed choke on homeboy here, and then ripping the payphone off the wall. He goes boom, 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 triple KO. Right.
Brilliant.
So I like that a lot. I like the action scenes, few as they are. Is that really, cool? Really, like you can imagine. Like, go ahead.
Really beautiful art. Like, I really.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the artwork is fantastic. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I really like it. It reminds me of like Simon Bisley when he did that book about the Ninja Turtles with Casey Jones and Raphael, and like every frame is just a brilliant 3D painting of brutal violence.
Right.
I look at this and I think about like a 3-way KO, like Chun-Li from Street Fighter, the way she could head kick 3 people because of how flexible it is.
Yeah, the flash kick thing.
Yeah, although what I think is even cooler than that is one single blow. Like, think about a character, hypothetically, Max, this is just coming to me right now out of nowhere, but suppose like a character who part of their leg was a sword, let's say.
Yeah.
And if this character were to kick 3 people, they could decapitate or KO, headshot KO with a sword 3 people with 1 kick, right?
That's cool. Let's draw it. Let's make it.
Okay, deal. I'll make a whole story and other characters around that.
Put him in Rokan. That's a Rokan character.
I know that's a Rokan character. Yeah, I'm being facetious. There's a Rokan character with a sword, like. Yeah, so I like the action scenes a lot and the way it sort of sequentially tells. Because this still seems like a superhero story, because it's still out. There's a superficial way to read this where it's just like damsel in distress and a hero saves her. But then you find out that she's not really in distress and he's not really a hero. It subverts your estimations, doesn't it, Ron?
Yeah. Yeah, she uses him. Basically, I mean, he's a tool in more ways than one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's hinted at here. Go ahead. I was just going to say that's hinted at here because they're looking at circuits as artwork, and then they open up his head, and they realize that he's just a dildo. Like, he's just a computer. He's just a tool that they use. He has no will or agency of his own. So it's a fascinating character piece on what it means to be a superhero.
Well, this story especially, they trick her into showing them, how she controls him. Once he's deactivated, once Ranks is deactivated, then they kidnap her to, because of course Ranks is pretty much the badass in town. He's indestructible. Nobody messes with him. Okay, and they basically want him to. What do they want him to do? They want him to sort somebody out. To assassinate somebody, I believe.
It does look quite 2008-ish as well.
It says, when the time is right, you know what I want from you. And then they just try to kick him out. So the implication here is that they kidnap Lubna or do whatever they want with Lubna, have sex with her. And Ranxerox can't stop them. But it's sort of ambiguous if he needed to stop them to be a hero, or if, like, she doesn't want that and he's being like a chauvinist. It's kind of genius the way it's written, because you can interpret it either way. But the point is that the knight is just a bucket of bolts. He's not a knight in shining armor. So he just kicks to the curbside when they don't want him, and instead of him beating them up. And you're not really sure what's good or bad, or what, if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's ambiguous.
I see comparisons between this anti-hero, Ranxerox, and Judge Dredd. Right, they're both thugs.
Because of the lack of emotion.
Lack of emotion, that's nice, but
force,
it's like they have to. This is a brilliant panel. Scroll up just a little bit. Like, there is
prone.
Well, what's the word I'm looking for? He's been switched off. He's been kind of deactivated, and only when they want him to do something for them do they reactivate him. But just this one, can you scroll up a bit, Ben?
Yeah.
The way he's just laying on there in front of the Colosseum. Obviously, it's in Italy.
Yeah.
So it has Italian.
Is that when he's been thrown out of the car?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. You should say then that it reminds you of Judge Dredd, because Judge Dredd is like heavily linked to RoboCop, and they're essentially almost the same character. So the original RoboCop script was supposed to be a Judge Dredd script, and then eventually, I think they lost the bottle and turned it into its own thing. They didn't want to do a comic movie because they thought it didn't have any legs. Anyway, the shot of them kicking him out the car, sort of partly taken apart and then landed on the floor, really reminded me of RoboCop 2, where they do the same thing. They capture RoboCop and then they drill him apart and then drive up to the police station and open a car door and then throw all the parts out, and his torso is on the floor. His torso is still alive. And there's like a big question with RoboCop about whether he still retains his humanity or whether he just works on the prime directives. He's just essentially a computer. He never really had that answered.
And so, philosophically, you can interpret this as a critique of absolute morality, because if you have absolutes in your morality, then you have to follow a certain code, which means that you're like Judge Dredd or like Ranxerox, and that you're just a tool for an ideology.
Yeah, and exactly the same with RoboCop, right? Is he doing the things because he he's internally wants justice, or is he just doing it because he's just an android? And that's what he's programmed to do. One of them.
That is the question.
Yeah, one of them seems a lot more sad than the other, right?
The reason I compared him to Dredd is like they're both slaves to their programming.
Right, okay.
So like Ranxerox, he belongs to Lubna.
Yeah.
Right. And even when she does later on, where she doesn't want to see him anymore, she says she's trying to get away. He rips through like 15 feet walls just to get to her.
Oh, he does
the
coolest
like
thing ever. Yeah, he does this whole gladiator Coliseum jump because he's supposed to portray Fred Astaire.
Oh, that's what I wanted to show. Yeah.
The climax of the story.
Yeah. Exactly. So, they want him to do like Fred Astaire and learn all the moves.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's Lubna like messing with the guy, right? The guy who like the producer of the Fred Astaire play. He's messing with Lubna, and Ranxerox is jealous, but they also keep him occupied rehearsing. So he's studying for this play, and then like the bad guy, quote unquote, is hoisted on his own petard because then Lubna starts to mess around with him, and Ranxerox notices while performing the play, and instead of performing the play, he sabotages the performance and jumps and gladiator style tries to kill him, which is so much fun to read.
Yeah.
What else did you want to say about it, Rob?
Yeah, I wanted to come to this bit as well, that like he's mechanical. Is it love? Is it programming? Who knows? In any case, like he's a slave to Lubna, and just in the way that Ranx is a slave to Lubna, you could say that like Dredd is a slave to the law. It's his whole programming. They're both programmed to follow those rules,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm being simplistic. I don't know, but that's the way I interpret it.
I think you're interpreting it the right way.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying with the RoboCop thing. Like his prime directives are the law, and then obviously he's a percentage, a chunk of a human, and a percentage as a cybertronic being, right? So there's this consistent argument throughout both the films about whether what is driving him, right? Is it the directives that he's been programmed with, or is it his humanity? And it's important, I think, that you never have that answered, right? Is it you don't want that answered about Judge Dredd, and you sounds like you don't want it answered about this guy either, because
there's a way to read this where you think like, okay, no, Dredd is Ranxerox. Even though the story kind of spoofs it a little bit, the programming is correct, because if this is a young girl, especially if she's under 18, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But if you do read it that way, then he should be trying to protect her. He shouldn't just let her go into this corrupt chaos. He should be trying to stop her.
Another piece of media that sort of does something similar is Leon, the professional.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
He's with the little girl, but like you, it's not programming, but you sort of think, is it because he's like a child, isn't he? Is it his childish?
So you could say that the programming is biology, or you could say that it's religion, or it's both. But it comes down to the question of morality, if it's programmed or where it comes from.
Yeah, and I think there's a version of that where there's some issue with the age of Matilda in that, and I think there was an original version where things were a bit more,
No, please explain. in great graphic detail.
Okay, I'll just come out and say it. There's an original version of Leon, and where there's a scene where Matilda thinks she's in love with Leon, and she asks Leon to sleep with her. And obviously, Matilda is a little girl, and Leon obviously declines. But obviously,
my goodness,
that version caused, and the fact that scene still exists caused a lot of backlash about what Luke Besson was trying to say about the film.
Right. Well, this is exactly what I was getting at when I mentioned her age earlier, because I would have imagined there to be some kind of controversy around that, and that to be mentioned. Maybe I need to go to the Ranxerox Italian page and maybe
It's extremely interesting, and I'm surprised that you couldn't find anything as much as
Well, I don't think this is a very well-known book. You
That
see,
might
the
be
thing
it.
about that's it. I really think it's all there is to it, which is crazy because the artwork is top quality.
Years after seeing it, you know.
I have heard of this story. I have heard of this book before, so it's actually good that I got around to reading it this time. Yeah, because it's not the first time I've heard of it, and I can't remember exactly where I did hear of it. Yeah.
I think this is the only episode we've ever done where we've struggled to just say what. Well, at least when I've struggled to say what I mean, you know.
Well,
I mean, the weird thing is like he stops her from messing with this dude, and then he punishes her, but like it's sort of implied that
she's a little girl because he's slapping her ass.
He's slapping her ass, but there's also like a sexual undertone to it. But also he's an android, so it's very confused.
Yeah.
Read that out, Ben. This is so funny. Read this out.
Listen, Lobna, us hurts more than it hurts you after all I've been through for all these memorizing all those songs and films. Do you see the one where Fred dances on the ceiling for the one where Fred and Ginger get together? And yeah, he's just like reciting programming.
Oh wow. Hey, that's interesting. Okay, so share mine because they've reworded a lot of it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah, listen to me. Instead of squealing, you sow, I'm not going to stop until I've told you all about the movies I had to memorize. So, Fred takes Ginger's hand.
That is a lot different.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to read the whole lot again, bloody hell.
Well, when we did the nudity episode, you know, I tap danced a little bit about the happenings in those Milo Manara stories.
Yeah.
Right? Because like the only way it makes sense to me is to understand it as like basically like a satire with the overall message of just loosen up and have sex with whoever you want to. If you want to, but if you want to, it has to be in italics for me. And then with this Ranx book, you know, the heavy metal tones it down a lot, I think, to make it palatable, like we said.
Yeah.
Because it's less rapey in English, or at least my translation.
Well, this it sounds like there's they had a couple of goes at it, right? So maybe one wasn't good enough. I wonder how many other things were different.
Well,
I think I don't know. I mean, think of Roman Polanski. How old was his girlfriend when they got together? She was 14 or something, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And like some continental areas just don't think that much. Don't make that big of a deal of like, you know, older men and younger girls. Like I said, I mean, like it used to be like that in a lot of. I mean, it still is in some cultures where girls get married, you know, in arranged weddings.
I think there are some cultures where the age of consent isn't as much of a issue for them, but they make a bigger deal about same-sex couples, etc.
Yeah, I think right now it's like it's a thing.
Well,
people get upset about it.
It's kind of funny. When I first went to Spain, this was like 91. I was doing a bit of reading. And one thing I read was until 1982, the age of consent in Spain was 12.
Fucking hell.
You know what it
Which is like, woof. Crazy young for a European country.
Yeah.
You know what it is in Colombia?
No.
5.
Guess. No, but really guess. If it's 12 in Spain in 1982. What do you think it
14.
is in Colombia? It's 14.
I'm guessing 14, right?
14. It is 14. And there's I've seen it for me as a United Statesian person, it's weird. But I've seen like public service announcements on television where it's like dramatized, I'm not even kidding, dramatized like girls getting the attention of older boys on the street, and then it says like, remember, the legal age of consent is 14. If you touch someone younger than 14, it's actually a crime. And it's like,
dude, that's like crazy. Like, that's like, who are they trying to attract? Like, what viewership are they trying to attract there? Like,
well,
remember, the age of consent is 14.
No, but it's like a warning. It's like a don't do drugs kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, like what the bloke's saying is like injecting himself. Remember, only inject yourself 3 times a day. Oh.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Oh,
I don't know. It's really weird.
God.
But like that's why they have quinceañeras. Like,
okay.
A lot of times, like Westerners are just like, oh yeah, anything Latin American's cool. It's actually kind of weird and gross because the point of the quinceañera is like, okay, now you're as tall as you're gonna be, and you have your period. That means you can have boyfriends. That means you can get married, right? And people get married at 15 years old. They're like, it still happens. And
wow.
And so it's like 14 is like a year buffer zone if you get ahead of the curve and you like start messing around before you're 15. Let's leave them until 14. And it's funny because in the United States, most people lose their virginity at 17. That South Park joke is a good joke, but there's a reason it's funny. Most people literally lose their virginity at 17. And in the United States, it's a sweet 16. So it's like once you're 16, then you start thinking about who you want to have sex with when you turn 17. But in Colombia, it kind of goes in the other direction. It's like now that you're 15, you can have sex, but maybe when you're 14, you get into it a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like this weird gray area that pushes in different directions.
Which South Park joke are you talking about now?
Oh, the South Park joke where they ask, where Stan asks everybody, how old are you? Should you be when you have sex? And they all tell them, well, you know, it depends on the person, and some people, because there's like a 40-year-old virgin in the school that's a teacher, and that's dumb. But basically,
Mr. Mackey.
Chef, I don't remember, but Chef is the one that tells them like straight up, the answer is 17. Like no, 17. If you have someone, no, the answer is 17, and you look into it, and that kind of
but like
that is the median age in North America.
Right. Some states, though, you've got like a higher age of consent, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I guess so.
Yeah, some states different.
I think it's 18 in most states.
Yeah, it is,
I think I've read a couple that's like 19. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
This is why people want to move move around a lot.
Younger than 18.
Yeah.
This is a comic book show.
Well, it's a
not a when did you pop your cherry show.
But no, let's get back to there's a couple of other things.
Topic.
Yeah, baby.
No, seriously, I wasn't expecting. That is interesting for me. I like stuff with controversy around it.
Yep.
It makes me want to have a look at it.
Totally, you will want to have a look at this. It's just, I mean, the artwork, brilliant, fantastic. What did hang on, what did Wikipedia say about the artwork? They said something. They said, okay, the artist uses Pantone pens to create his unique style of art.
Oh, so it's not painted?
Apparently not. And I mean, I've heard of Pantone, but Pantone pens?
I've
not.
What is Pantone pens?
Right.
Oh, let's have a look. Wait. Where are you gone? I'm on a different.
So
okay. So how is that different to Copics?
It's like felt, but sort of a bit painty as well.
Okay.
I've got loads of them.
Is it different to Copics?
Yes, it's not as harsh as Copic pens.
What do you think about these? This won't take long. Exit solo layout. Do these look all right to you, or not really?
You'll know whether they're all right when you put them down on the page, right? If it causes a huge blob that bleeds through the page, then you got an issue, assuming you're reading the right paper.
They look all right to me. Anyway, yeah, you show me yours.
But yeah, I use these on the painting on our pages, so just highlights and stuff. But yeah, I understand why people use it like
as the main.
Yeah.
So it's more like dye than painted, or what?
Yeah, it's just easier to control because it's coming out of a pen as opposed to being on a paintbrush. So it's less watery, but it's kind of you can manipulate it less. It's there.
Right.
So it's a bit like watercolor. You have to put it in. You have to put the colors on in the right order. So you have to understand. I don't know if it's
Color
dark,
theory.
light to dark.
Light to dark.
Yeah, if you fuck up one, then
I like that though because it kind of reminds me of stained glass. You have to do that that way.
Oh, really?
Like, I think so because you have to do like yellow before orange, before red, before purple.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't. So I one of the reasons why I don't do that is because I like to freestyle the color. I like to just hop on and just start doing it. So you can't do that with the pens. You have to have a plan. So
wow, that just sounds like a whole shitload of pre-planning, which is not my great strength.
Well, I mean, once you get used to it, I imagine it just becomes second nature. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That makes sense to me because I'm such a perfectionist that I have to complete something all the way through before I show anyone.
Yeah.
So I kind of get that.
I totally understand it. And sometimes people just fall in love with the medium, and then they, they just figure out the rules based on the medium.
Okay.
And I like this part as well. I like this part, how that's all right. Like in the story, just building off the gimmick of his superpower, he plugs himself in to the PA system at the disco, right? He comes with his cowboy hat on, and this is interesting as well because the cowboy hat is covering up his circuits, right? You saw him without his top of his head, so he's kind of like Superman, and he won't take his glasses off, right? Because if you take his cowboy hat off, he'll reveal that he's an android, and that's really funny because he's wearing a white hat to cover up his secret identity, kind of like Superman with his Clark Kent with his glasses, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't take my glasses off, or I have to be Superman. I turn into Incredible Hulk. You want to say something?
I'll tell you a Clark Kent Superman related story in a minute if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell her right now, but take 5 minutes or less.
Well, it all started in 19... I remember the year because there was a long summer. It was an early summer. Long and early.
Great. So then, anyways...
What happened was... Christopher Reeve, when he played Superman, he went to the canteen in the Superman getup, in the costume, and everyone was turning their heads to look at him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Of course. A couple of days later, he was in the canteen as Clark Kent. Nobody batted an eyelid.
No one noticed.
There you go, you see? There you go.
It's just like if you walk into the cantina with your head looking like this with all your circuits showing, no good. But if you beat up this cowboy and put his white hat on as a disguise, nobody notices you, right?
I mean,
because you're a good guy.
This is also a reason why he's so kind of like, he's the hero, anti-hero, but he's unlikable. Because the cowboy, go back up, the cowboy's like, hey, you're all right, buddy? Bang, crash.
Exactly.
What a dick.
He uses extreme violence to force his way. Yeah, he's a fascist.
I mean, at least Terminator said, give me your bike and all of your clothes.
Yeah. Well, they placated him by getting naked and just giving him the shit.
And all this guy says is skull, swirly, bomb, emoji, snort.
Snort. Yeah, snort. And later, in your version, does he say snort with a Z?
No.
Okay, because that's pretty much all he says in, as I don't know, some kind of, what is it now? What's the word? An expletive. He comes out with snort with a Z.
Yo, and he breaks this girl's fingers. That's not.
Oh,
right.
What? That is
I
good.
didn't really notice that before. Oh, it's a good panel.
In a new segment that I've just made up.
Yeah.
If this was going to be a live action, well, not necessarily live action, but if this was going to be on the cinema or TV, would you see it as a movie, a series, animated? Who would play the main guy? Who would be the director?
Oh, just anybody, Dutch.
Oh, God.
Who could possibly play him, right?
Oh, shit, what's his name? Goodman. Ron Perlman in his younger days.
No, he's not ugly. No.
But he's got the face. He's got the face.
He's got the Hellboy face, hasn't he?
Yeah. He'd have to wear like a muscle suit though, but still, he's got the face for it, hasn't he? I mean, sorry, Ron, if you're watching.
He played Hellboy, he knows he's ugly.
I know.
That's true. He did play Hellboy.
Shit.
What a freaking downer it must be to like be born and think, I've got a pretty fucking like a weird face. So I'm going to use it to my advantage.
When you're a bloke, right? When you're a bloke, there's so many things you can make up for like not being like super attractive.
Yeah.
You just be capable or funny or like rich.
Or have a big cock.
There's so many things. I'll have a massive Johnson.
Let's hit these 3 points real quick that I just had in my notes. So here he's got his big robot Johnson, and he's running like a gorilla. I just like this because he's using his superpower to take over the PA system. And then you see him like, the music playing is Love Will Tear Us Apart, but like all that's played for him is like these computer program like language or something. I'm
sorry, I'm still laughing
You're still laughing about Big Johnson, yeah. There's a gun you can laugh about. And he's got a bow tie. But like, remember we were talking about The Crow, and he kept doing like Joy Division and Cure lyrics?
Yeah.
So I was reading that, and then at the same time I was reading this. So like, and then
right, you're reading them at the same time.
Yeah, and I also read Sandman at the same time. So I
dude, how many eyes have you got?
Well, anything with Cure or Joy Division references was the things.
Has this got Cure reference?
It says if the song they're listening to is Love Will Tear Us Apart, it's Joy Division.
Oh, no way. So,
yeah, I read that and I was like, didn't click. Yeah.
So, like, imagine that song playing as you see this scene, right?
Yeah. So that would be the soundtrack to the movie.
Exactly. So they're all listening to the same music as Ben Jackson, and then Ben Jackson walks in with his white hat here, pretending to be a good guy, but really he's an android. He doesn't have any human feelings, but he wants to have sex and he wants to do drugs. Do 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 do.
I like it.
And then we have this really cool scene on page 24 where he takes this bus. He has sex with Lubna's friend, but it's not cheating because he's just a dildo, which is my fantasy, to have no responsibility for calling his better than the one I said. And then
Lubna's older friend.
Lubna's older friend, exactly. So she's 20. And then so there's this scene where Ranxerox is looking for a place to sit on the bus.
Oh, God, yeah.
He says, a free place. And he wakes someone up. And the guy's like, shut up, you asshole. I was sleeping. And there's like this rogues gallery of like just tough dudes with like knives. and hats.
Wait. Go to the next panel.
This guy's
because that's the village people.
It is.
This guy's got a keychain in his nose, right? These are tough customers, right? And then like Ranxerox just
beats the shit out of all of them.
He throws them out the window. Presumably they didn't all survive the encounter, and he's just sprawled out, relaxed. He took his jacket off. He made himself at home. What are we already in Palermo? Is that a cool panel or what?
Yeah, that's a really cool panel.
I think part of the intention of the artists, the writer and the artist, was the shock value, right?
Oh yeah, I think the whole thing is that they wanted to make something a little edgy, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like they succeeded.
Yeah, totally.
I gotta respect it a lot. I enjoy edge.
And then here's some meta edgy shit. Last thing in my notes here. If we go to page 50, but not page 50 of the book, but page 50 of the book, if you know what I mean.
What?
Not page 50 of the PDF, but page 50 of the story. It's like different. It's like different things. Oh wait, soon after the Palermo already. My bad. So here we have Palermo already. It's on page 24. Just going a little bit, and you get to the scene where the guy throws up on the other guy. Because this guy, he's mad because they cut his dick off, but that's a whole thing. So he's going on a rampage. And then this guy, here we go. This guy's sick, right?
Can I just buy the book of this, or have I got to buy the issues?
No, the book. Yeah, you can get it collected. You can get it the collected book. Yeah, because they were printed as episodes in heavy metal, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know how many pages would be in each issue? Like 6, would it be?
I think 8. I'm pretty sure 8. Or it's flexible though, like maybe 10, but just bits.
Yeah.
Just bits, which is why I want to do Score Magazine now, because I like reading things in 8.
Yeah, for sure, mate, for sure.
So she's like, oh, lend me your newspaper for 10 minutes, and then and he throws up in it, right? And he's like, "You bastard! You threw up on my magazine." So I don't know. I like to think that this is like a meta joke where it's telling you where you're supposed to read this while you're high on paranoid weed, and you don't really do drugs, obviously. And you're high on your weed, and you're thinking "Oh my gosh, am I reading filth? Is my magazine just throw up? Is this whole it's all just smut and filth? What am I doing?" And you have an existential crisis right then and there while you're reading. That's all my notes.
Alrighty. The whole background, if you want to share my stuff.
Yeah.
The whole background, I mean, you've got so much going in. We saw from some of yours, the different crowd scenes. I mean, here, Skin Cox, was rail? Israel. Oh, I just noticed that. Israel was rail. What the fuck? I have no idea. Oh, look, there you go. Snort.
Oh,
Lubna should thank the short circuit that prevented me from fulfilling the desire to punch her in her shitty little face. But Lubna is my whole life. I can't kill her.
So there's no was real graffiti in heavy metal. But that's interesting as well, because you could read it either way. It's this is anti-Semitic, or no, this is actually criticizing anti-Semitism. Right?
Yeah. There's so much, and let me find. Oh, Oh, did you catch that? Did you ever see the film Crash? There were 2 films called Crash.
Yes,
I've seen both of them.
And I read.
You've seen both of them, so you know the one I'm talking about, the one where the guy gets his jollies.
The David Cronenberg one.
Yeah, he gets his jollies from car crashes. So, what's his face? Ranks has a buddy that he gets on with really well, like a real human person, who does exactly that. He gets his jollies from, watching car crashes and imagining people dying, or imagining having sex while
dying.
Oh Jesus, dude! There's so much to unpack here, and I'm sorry I didn't make more concise notes. Look, she's looking after the neighborhood's kids. Stop blubbering, you little shit, or you won't eat tonight, okay? Well, I want my mommy. Dude, this is a 12-year-old crack addict.
Yeah.
Leave the panel.
Say what?
Just leave the panel when you're done, and I'll say after you.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's so much going on here. What I was actually looking for was these, just like you showed the different things going on in the background. It's kind of like, it's kind of like Airplane and the Naked Gun the Naked Gun films and Police Squad, where stuff's going on in the background.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And it's all adding to the story, and it's not connected, but it's all adding to the story. I'll see if I can find more examples.
But
go
leave
for
that
Ben.
just for a second.
Go for it. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys read Sandman. I know Buddha has, but there's a story in there where he's obviously Neil Gaiman has introduced the idea of continuing dreams, where you're in the same dream world every time you're asleep, and when you're awake, you're in a different world. And he uses that to like have a girl reconnect with her subconscious mind as a child, and then her toys are the recurring characters accompanying her in her dream. And Max, I really like that idea. So I'll show you that book for when you have a chance to look at it, because going on your Peter Pan idea, I think we could do something similar. And just look at this panel. You see how she has these different characters, and like there's this like monkey kid in the corner or something that looks like real.
Yeah.
No, that's a sister. That's a sister. Look, there's two kids.
Oh, wonderful. So then there's this sort of gray line between what's a toy and what's a human. Because I, at least for a second, thought that was another stuffed animal, but that's...
Yeah, it does look like a little animal.
Exactly. Yeah. So the toys look like people, and the people look like toys, is the point.
Do you remember Blade Runner, where there's the toy maker and the original Blade Runner, and the toys are walking around the house, and they're essentially played by little people. But I remember being really confused by that as a kid. I was like, are they supposed to be little creatures, or like...
And so my idea is like you take something like that Neil Gaiman story, or like this, apparently, because I haven't read this, but I like it, and you imagine LSD as an element, and then that line is even more blurred, right?
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Yeah,
I mean, if you remember E.T., E.T. stood among the toys, and somehow was not seen.
Yeah,
just like Clark Kent.
Listen, I've got a kid, right? And if I was looking for a fucking alien in there, like even if he looked like a toy, I'd be like, "Who bought you this toy?" Like I know every single toy that
right, you know the toys. Yeah. I like it. I'm so very good.
But like it's really, you mentioned in this monkey kid, and I'm like,
a monkey kid.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna get struck for that. There is.
Oh, really? You know what's funny is like
be all right because it looks like a monkey kid.
It's fine because in my culture, which is Colombia, they call white people monkeys. And I'm
well, that's okay.
Because you get white-faced monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. And so people call me monkey because of my light skin. So
no. But mono means homosexual.
No, mono means white person in Spanish.
Oiga, mono, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah. White person.
He oído que te casaron, pero eres un mono, entonces, ¿qué va?
No, I wouldn't say that here because mono here means white person. See, it's a different dialect. Anyway, what else? Well,
all right. So I want to find one of these scenes where there's all like disjointed. This looks like it could be good. Oh, get out.
But yeah, that scene with the toys is really, really neat. I like that very a lot.
Oh God, this story. Did you get this story?
Where with the chainsaw, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they go to a drug dealer's house, and the drug dealer's like, you can make yourselves at home, but do not go in that room.
Right. What's in the room?
Okay. What's in the room? Oh yeah, that's this one with the yeah. Oh, hang on. Is this the one with the elevator? No. There's one story with Lubna, and she's talking to a girl who's like a what do you call them? They're like an elevator assistant. Their job is just to stand in the elevator all day.
Escort. I think.
Yeah, we don't have that in the UK, so do we have that in the UK?
Not that I know of, my man.
No, I've never. I saw it in Vegas once. I saw it in Vegas with. I remember the year. It was a long summer.
They've been in a lot of movies. They've been in a lot of movies.
So we had that up until last year at my grandma's house. There was
Really?
You had
in the elevator.
No
Oh
way.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's not just a 2-story house.
I feel like that's such an easy job.
It's a 7-story apartment complex.
It's a boring job, though. Right?
Those are the
If
best.
you're in the elevator, you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure there's cameras in there.
Yeah, but what if you're the guy in charge of the cameras? Take it from me. You can do whatever you want. I've had.
Camera goes off in 3, 2. So, we were in Vegas, and I was with an ex, and it was her brother getting married. So we got into one of these elevators, and the brother was kind of fat. And this girl says, "One at a time, please." "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." You know, like, but the way exactly, you went exactly where my mind went.
Yep.
Cheeky motherfucker.
One at a time. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir." Oh god, that was so fucking funny.
That's really funny, dude. But yeah, this is like heavy metal at its finest, to be honest. And I'm really happy to know that it's not actually painted, because now I know, and I can say, I'll look up whatever kind of marker that was, but I can say and pretend I know what I'm talking about. I really like because I really do. I like the way it looks when books are colored.
Yeah.
Because it's really neat. I like it a lot.
For sure.
Yeah, it looks great. I know a lot of painters use markers as well. I only fairly recently, but like, say Bisley's a painter, but really he's multimedia. He uses just everything.
He must use markers because there's got to be something in common between him.
Yeah, he uses pencil as well. So do I. I just use everything.
You just put everything together. You don't care. You just mix it all together.
As long as it looks good. Why have you been married to a medium?
Oh, I don't know, because I was following rules.
Yeah, which is easy to do, but like I said, I mean, Broken's going to be everything. It's going to be digital, traditional, pencils, felt tip,
and
Crayola.
I guess markers from now on.
Markers as well. Yeah, it's already in them, you know.
Stubby little IKEA pencils.
Yeah.
So check out the first panel. Okay, hey Ben, you could be the elevator assistant. Max, I'd like you to play Lubna.
Okay. I can't read it though. I can't see it.
Zoom in just a little bit, would you?
Yeah, right. Hang on. Whoa. Hang on. Zoomed on you. Right, there we go. Oh, God. There we go.
Level 120, miss. Thank you, miss.
Thank you for what, monkey face? Shit, that is racist.
You're going to get fucking struck for that one.
I didn't say it.
I am in the dome level 2 in front of New Thomas.
I think we have recordings of you saying it.
AR-13, I am still alive.
I don't agree with that.
All right, Rob, you read for ranks here.
Ponytail, huh? Snort. You're going down, huh?
Shit, so she's a rackist. She's not
a complete
nice
rackist.
At all, right?
No, fuck, she's not. She's really not a nice person.
She's a bad person.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
she's the bad
you see
guy.
it in the earlier.
That's That's the whole subversion, because especially that story in Heavy Metal, it starts off with like, oh, here's the damsel in distress. She's gonna get sex assaulted. Ranxerox saves her. No. She's a sex worker.
Batman.
She's her own pimp. She's a drug dealer. She's the bad guy.
But do
That's
you end
the whole
up
inversion.
You end up rooting for her?
No,
No, not really, not at all.
she's the bad guy. The more you know her, the more she's the bad guy.
I really like writing that sets up like a horror, like a bad person, and then finds something in that character manipulates the audience into rooting for them.
This is the opposite of that.
Right. Okay.
Mind you, on that vein, this story,
Breaking Bad.
It's the opposite.
This story. Oh yeah, because his wife's dying of cancer, isn't she?
Yeah.
Well, he's dying of cancer, but like by the end, you follow him through his journey. By the end of it, he's done so many terrible things, but because you've been with him all the way,
yeah,
you overlook all.
Same as The Sopranos. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the same as Seinfeld.
Yeah, but if you
well, I don't know.
If you just seen what he'd done on paper, you'd be like, "Oh, this guy's a complete bastard." But because
you're like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah, and I love that. Yeah. I always try to think of characters that are complete fuckers but they've got some kind of redemption in them. Even not even redemption, something that you can manipulate an audience into feeling like it's redemption.
Something sympathetic is about it.
Yeah, I think that's really good storytelling if you can do it.
Why did you bring Seinfeld into that?
Because,
what? I mean,
Robert, Seinfeld. If you watch the finale of Seinfeld, you go to jail. They tell you. You find out that they're actually bad people, and then the subtle message that Larry David is telling you is, yeah, you're a bad person too. We're all bad people. And that's sort of the enlightenment. Because if you think about it, you watch Friends, and your reaction is like, oh, these are good people like me. That's that's a low IQ mentality. And then you watch something like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and they're like, oh, these are bad people. That's funny, but they're not like me. I'm better than these weirdos. But then you watch Seinfeld, and your reaction is, these are bad people. Like me, because you're enlightened, and you know you're a bad person.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I know George is a bad person.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get out of a relationship by wishing his girlfriend was dead.
Right.
And she dies.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's like, for me, that's kind of like a bit of a jump the shark moment, because you cannot recover from something like that. That is just so freaking bad.
He who has never been in his heart glad when someone died, be the first to cast a stone, because I'm living in a glass house. You know what I mean?
Well,
they're all fuckers and Friends as well. They're all bastards.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all driven by our wants and desires and needs, right? So, yeah. Okay, so Spike Milligan, he had something to say about glass houses.
Go on.
He said, people who live in glass houses should pull the blinds before removing their trousers.
Yes. Well, you'd be correct then, wouldn't it?
He is correct, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't work in American English because pants doesn't rhyme with houses.
Right.
So in this story, Lubna, we find out more info about Lubna. That her dad is like this big CEO, is in bed with the US government, etc., etc., etc.
He's a rich kid.
And that's a bad thing, by the way.
The point is, he has no time for his daughter. Right. You know, he probably pays for everything that she wants, including drugs, but he has no time for her.
Right.
So that's possibly the point within the whole saga that says, this is why she's grown up to be the little shit that she is.
Right. So she's spoiled sort of physically, but she's
neglected, emotional.
Yeah.
So she hadn't had no love.
You were never there for me, Dad. That one.
I mean, like, yeah. So hang on, it's in the, there you go. What the hell is going on? It's Rank's daddy. He's coming up. He's furious, daddy. I mean, like, look at the tonal change. It's no,
Right.
it's daddy, daddy. Look, I'm a little girl. Like the phone. Excuse me, Lou. Coming in and be quiet. He can't get past it. So, like, even now, when she's in her dire moment of need, oh, the phone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's absolutely no surprise.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But these colors, man, the way he does skin tones, it's just fucking incredible.
Brilliant, isn't it?
And you gotta think, okay, how would this be done? Just like stay on her face for a second. How would you do this? You would hit
the one
lighter
up.
markers and then the darker markers, kind of like doing makeup.
Yeah, I can only imagine that it's light. Yeah, you start with light and then move up dark, because the one on the right is almost just low lights, isn't it? Because the skin tone itself is just white on the one on the right.
Yeah, well, it's reflection, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's like an illusion to skin tone. Yeah. So
look at
it works, dude.
I mean, look at this little piece here. Yeah, you could actually see that's where she's gulping air in, because she's kind of like she's shouting out.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know if he worked with photos or what, but wow. I mean, the understanding of the anatomy is just incredible. I mean, we saw those pics earlier with Xerox and the veins in his arms and all the light and shadow. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And he's not
this back in the 1970s.
He's got those muscles with the veins and everything. And
there's loads of good art in the 1970s.
Yeah.
I think it's decreased in quality. Like traditional art has decreased in quality over the last 20, 30, 40
because of digital. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, art in general. I think comic art in general. I feel has like professional comic art. Let's compare like some of the artists in certainly the in the British comics now, compared to like suppose like the 90s.
Oh yeah, here's where he breaks through the wall.
Yeah.
Breaks through the wall like the
look at him on fire in the background. How good is that?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Have you read oh god, look at her face here. Do you really have look, like, so this is a synthetic boyfriend you've been talking about. You lost 3 years of your life because of him, and she's like, what, 14 now, right? Listen to that, how pure the sound. He's only machine, Lou. You can get the radio and keep the radio and get rid of the rest. Right. And I'm like, do you really have to be so mean, Daddy? Sob. Well, I couldn't stand him anymore. I needed my 2 grams of heroin per day to survive. I couldn't love a battery-operated dummy, but we had our moments. I mean, what the fuck kind of a father is this that he lets?
Reminds me?
Yeah, what? No, I was going to say, what kind of a fucking father is this that he knows his daughter's been like out there with this guy, with this robot for 3 years. She's a drug addict, and yet he's not a father. He's not there for her.
Yeah, he's not tried to sort it out.
Yeah, sorry, Ben. Ben. Come on, don't cry, Lou. I'll grow a pussy.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what he means by that.
It means
because it's the emotion. He doesn't want to see the emotion.
Yeah, it'll lower his testosterone so much that it'll grow a pussy.
Oh, he's saying I'll grow a pussy so I can talk about having.
Yeah, he's saying if you keep crying, I'll grow a pussy.
Yeah,
because it's so like, you know.
I'll have too much estrogen.
Yeah.
That's a really unkind thing to say.
Yes,
your daughter.
To your daughter. Yeah.
It's connected. Fucking.
It reminds me of Martha Washington, is what I was gonna say.
Okay.
But like,
how so?
Well, because Martha Washington is forced into being a killer for the government.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of like Lubna is, I guess, pusher, pimp, prostitute, but so she has to be like her own pusher and her own pimp. Whereas Martha Washington has to be like her own like propaganda machine to make her take lives for whatever the U.S. government wants her to do, right? So it's kind of like the same thing, like exploiting youth for the profit of the older generation, whether it's as a soldier or as a drug pusher.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Or these are just stories of people. I mean, obviously not real people. People who do what they can to survive, what they've got, what they've been given, and how they've been brought up.
Yeah.
I mean, Halo Jones is another example of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of I kind of like these stories that give you the backstory to say, you know, like what's gone on before and like how has this like, you know, developed this character.
Yeah, it's a good character study, right?
Yeah.
Especially after you've seen what they're capable of, and you're wondering why. Like you'd be wondering why is this young girl in this situation in the first fucking place? Because it's such a bizarre situation.
Oh, for sure. I mean, oh god, and hang on, this next page. There you go. Oh my god, I don't think I can read this. I'll get Max to read it out. Put your face close to the camera again.
Okay, is this the one? You fucking pissed me off, crackerjack. Jesus Christ, get me out of here, or I'll shove this up your tight little diploma ass. And one more thing, I'm leaving, and I need the car. That's not very
not a nice person.
Well, she's probably a miniature version of her dad, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Total cunt. So.
This is funny because he's a total cunt, but he can't grow a pussy.
Yeah. Exactly. Paradox.
And this reminds me a lot of Halo Jones, especially like you have people named like Anya and stuff like that, which I know is just a Russian name. So is
I don't think there's an Anya in Halo Jones though.
But I mean, there's just forget the name of her friends, but everybody has funny names.
Well,
everybody has exotic haircuts.
I think her friend's name is Luba.
Luba, yeah, which is Russian.
I mean, Luba, yeah, Russian for love, baby.
Charity, more accurately. Because it's faith, hope, and charity. Faith, hope, and charity is the three names, right? And Luba is the equivalent of charity. But yeah.
All right.
As a name, I mean, because you see girls named Faith, you see girls named Hope in it.
Yeah.
But check this out. This is interesting. There's a bit of a you know, like basically, Ranx has gone through the whole Terminator 2 phase of being completely destroyed. Yeah. And then Lubna's like away. How did I end up shacking up with a doll with such automatic, boring reactions? That pretentious nipper. I still love Ranx. Oh no, bloody fucking hell. Because she said it, and there's like some kind of neural link between her and Ranx. Right. And even though he's been destroyed, snort. She's activated him again.
Right.
By saying that she loves him.
Yeah.
That activates him again. That's fascinating.
And then the story continues, and I totally think this is the last story. Or hang on a sec. No, they kind of recreate him to be some. What the fuck is going on here?
They're making it
I mean, if I had time.
Well, it kind of reminds me of H.R. Giger, you know? There's
it is. Oh, yeah.
Sex organs combined with machines. You don't know where the line is.
Yeah. I would connect that with a Henry vacuum cleaner.
Well, that's what that's for. Right, and on that note, should we call it a show?
When you're a Hummer. That's the conclusion. Life is
I found that really, really interesting. I'm definitely going to read these.
Yeah, it's right up your alley.
Yeah, right up my alley.
Yeah. You'll like it. You will like it.
No, I know I will.
Yeah.
That's one of the more interesting ones that we've ever done for me, I think.
Artistically, it's super in line with Disney.
Both, like both. I like the concept as well.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. Who's the fucking?
That's the president of the United States. Like a few pages earlier, he was in a hospital bed and he was wasting away because of some skin disease.
There you go. There's President Joe Biden. Come here, Pat. Give me the skin graft. Come on. Trying to run the country.
As we've just seen, drugs make your problems go away. So make it the best day possible. Remember, it's drugs that counts. Take one and take a chance.
Saturday morning cartoons, mostly conjecture based on little knowledge.